Hi everybody, welcome back once again to the Eastfield Gunroom YouTube channel with me, Matthew Morgan. It's Sunday at 6:15, probably. If it isn't, welcome anyway. As ever, this video is proudly sponsored by the British Shooting Show, and if you do enjoy the content, do give us a like, do hit that subscribe button because we do appreciate your support and it enables us to bring you fantastic content and me every week. Now we're going to start today's video by dispelling a myth. Now in previous videos, it has been rumoured that AYA, very famous Spanish shotgun maker, probably the most famous, are no longer manufacturing shotguns. I touched on it in a couple of videos. A couple of people have messaged me and said, no, you're wrong. Well, I have got the actual facts. So this week I was lucky enough to speak to the company here in the UK that have taken over the distribution of AYA shotguns from ASI. It's a company called Manor & Co. I spoke to the managing director and he assures me that AYA are still, although on a very small scale, manufacturing guns. More importantly, there is a new gun in the pipeline, and on top of that, they are confident about the supply of parts, which was always a concern because there's a lot of AOAs here in the UK, a lot of people own them, a lot of people love them, so ultimately you need somewhere to get the bits. So that is basically it. It was all about trying to keep you guys informed about the current situation with AOA. I'm not signing any contracts, so don't hold me to it, but that is what I understand is the current situation. On top of that, I thought we've looked at side-by-sides on this channel, not loads because primarily it's an over and under channel, I would say. We've never actually looked at one that's got two triggers. So what are we looking at today? Obviously, you've probably guessed it's an AYA, but what is incredible is actually two AYAs that have come in as a pair that are different calibers and a gun that we've never featured on the channel before. So we all know that small bore shooting is very popular. We've looked at a lot of 410s. There was the Remy, the Fab Arm. We've looked at 28 bores, the Miracle Grade 5, the Jubilee Berettas. There is a massive push in the UK particularly for these small bore guns, and to find this model is particularly rare, but to find two is even more mental. AOA number 4. So for people that don't know, the AOA number 4 is the kind of top end of the box lock ejector range. We've looked at the number 2 side locks, nothing like that. It was a much more cost effective, much more affordable gun, because if you watch the channel, you know the difference between a box lock and a side lock. Now, on previous other presenters' videos, I have seen them describe the number 3 as an ejector. It absolutely isn't. The number 3 is the box lock non-ejector, and the number 4 is the box lock ejector. Top tip, weird fact, it's that the number 3 and number 4 have got a separate bottom plate where the trigger group goes into the action, unlike the very basic AOA Yeoman, which was the no-frills gamekeeper gun. The number 4 first came out probably 1960s, I would have thought, and it's been kind of the mainstay of game shooting ever since. If you wanted a reliable box lock that wasn't going to break the bank, obviously you want an ejector because the last thing you want to do is trying to furk out empty cartridge cases when your fingers are broken, there's birds flying over you. That's not fun. So it was always a question of, it looked a bit like a Webley 700, which is an English manufactured side-by-side, but it was never ever anywhere near as much money. Sadly, today, they are a lot of money because, of course, things have moved on. Production has changed. Raw materials cost more. People cost more. So one of these today is an awful lot of money. The good news is, particularly places like Harbourfield, they are awash with them and you can pick them up for nothing. Available in 12, 20, 16, and the guns we're going to look at today, which is 28 bore and 410. So I'm going to start with the 410, which I've got here. So this is a box lock ejector, as I've talked about many times. Case colour hardened, which is the standard finish on an AYA shotgun. So basically what they do is they get a mixture of, I think it's bone and wood and all that kind of stuff, and heat it up, and what it does is it gives this fabulous array of different colours which protects the action. It makes it harder, and also you get the feel of kind of an English gun. We've got blues, greens, browns, oranges, and they just look really nice. This is a true scale action. All AOAs are built on true small frame actions. So not like something like a Browning 410, which will be on a 20 bore action. This is a genuine 410 action and a genuine 28. Now the 410 has got 27-inch barrels with this slightly raised rib with my favorite Spanish saying, which is agag, which means AOA, which means made in Spain. Interestingly enough, this is full and full. So if you like a challenge and you like your small bores, What else are you going to find that's got that tight chokes with that less lead? So we take the fore end off, little snap, reassuring click, push the top lever across. We can see that this gun was manufactured in 1989 from the proof marks, and it's got 3-inch chambers. Now, it's everything you want from kind of a small bore. It looks the part in terms of English. In fact, I can remember back in my early days when I first started in the trade and I got my Mr. Mantion and I was riddling maggots selling air gun pellets, that these were always referred to as the next best thing to English. And I think that reputation is absolutely deserved because they still have a huge following worldwide, which is why I wanted to find out if they're still making them or not. So before we look any more at the 410, let's look at its bigger brother, because this is another rarity, but even rarer because I keep using the word rare. So this is actually a 28 gauge, but it's a 29-inch. Now, the majority of these guns are all 27 or 27.5-inch in these smaller calibers. To find one in longer barrel is extremely, it just doesn't happen. I've never seen one. So this is a 29-inch gun. As you'd expect, it's a much more modern gun. It was manufactured in 2003 and it's choked at 1/4 and 3/4. So a really, really nice selection there for sort of partridge, woodcock, or even, like I said, about sporting shots. If you like your sporting shots and you want that extra challenge, take it out on the pheasants. You'll have an awful lot of fun with this. 29-inch, 1/4, 3/4, 2 3/4-inch chambers. And it's got the same kind of slightly raised rib as the 410. I think the 410 is a 6x4. This is a 7x5. And as you would expect, we've also got the Aguirre and Arizona on the rib. Slightly different colours in terms of the case colour hardening. That is the great thing about case colour hardening. There's always going to be a variation. No two guns will be the same because the heating process and the cooling process will produce different colours throughout, and that's what makes owning one of these a bit more special. Now, what is super special, I'll go to the wood on this one first, is on the 28. This has actually got a factory long stock, which was a special order, 15 inches with a checkered butt plate, but also, and I've never seen one before, actually supplied with upgraded wood. So really, really nicely figured. Traditional English straight hand stock. And if we just touch back on the colour hardening, the triggers are hardened, the inside of the face is hardened, everything's hardened. It's like a really hard thing, like when you're trying to break toffee with one of the little hammers, that kind of stuff. So it's really, really hard. So basically, we've got the triggers are hardened, and then you've got this nice mixture of having the actual trigger guard and the bottom plate blued, as you would have the same finish on the barrels. So that's a nice contrast, and again, it's the kind of thing you would have on an English gun. So in any way you look at these, whether at the 28 or the 410, they're kind of designed to emulate that classic traditional, probably Birmingham box lock. The 410 is a bit different because the bottom plate, interestingly enough, is case colour hardened rather than blued, whereas the rest of the furniture is blued apart from the triggers. Double triggers, as you would expect. So just bear in mind, if you are going to shoot a side by side with a double trigger, there's always the fear or the chance you get smacked by the gun when you pull the back trigger, because the front trigger will bang into you. However, there is a very clever little rubber thing called a finger guard, which has been manufactured for generations, and you can get yourself one of those. This AYA number 4 box lock ejector has had a stock extension with an English style pad. It's not a Silvers pad because it's not good enough to be a Silvers pad, and it hasn't got the rubber butt plugs. Yes, that's a gunsmithing term. It's a normal orange pad, but it's also 15 inch. So, you know, it's not one of these guns that's kind of been shortened already for a youngster, which is quite traditional with one of these smaller caliber guns. So again, very universal and an awful lot of fun. If you had the two together, you'd be like the small bore warrior of shooting. Interestingly enough, the checkering is different. So you would suggest that looking at the 28 bore, because it had upgraded wood from the factory, it's probably also had slightly finer checkering. It is a bit coarser on the 410. Both got vacant ovals and both really, really nicely put together things. Of course, with them being a double trigger, they are non-selective because that would be nonsense. Weight-wise, we have got £5 7 ounces with the 410 and £5 14 ounces with the 28 bore. Now, I'm going to put them back together and just see what the balance test is like, just really for my own madness. But before I do that, we'll look at the fore ends. Now, again, we have got blued furniture with a push rod. push button forend, you know, like when someone's counting the shots on a pheasant day, click, 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 click. Little diamond in there. And again, we've got the same kind of checkering style, whereby it's a little bit finer on the 28 than it is on the 410. Traditional English splinter forend. Let's not forget AOA produced dozens and dozens of models over the years. If you do want something with like a beaver tail forend and a pistol gripstock, you need a 12-bore Matador. So we'll just pop them back together. 410, 27 inch, £5, 7 ounces. And that, bear in mind, AOAs are largely, well, there's a lot of handwork goes into an AOA. It's pretty much on the button, that one is, to be fair. And we've added also that big fat pad on the end. 28 gauge, 28 bore. I never know what to say, to be honest. And that gun is literally like closing an English gun. It's not been used at all. It's still got that fresh feel to it. Remember, this is 29 inch. You'd expect it to maybe a little bit barrel heavy. And again, pretty much on the pin. There is nothing wrong with any AOA. And if you want a side-by-side that's not going to break the bank, and we're talking, you can buy these for sub £100 depending on the model. It will literally never let you down. They are bulletproof Spanish guns. So obviously I've banged on about how rare these guns are, but do a Google for yourself and you will see that very, very rarely do you come across a small bore number 4. Quite a lot of number 3s because that was the non-ejector version. So it was a question of, oh, we'll get little Tommy a number 3 non-ejector and cut the stock down and teach him how to shoot. Very, very rare when you come across 410s in the smaller gauges. So from my point of view, these guns are going to appeal to people. We've talked a lot on this channel about the challenge of shooting small bores because the advancement in modern day cartridges. I can imagine there's going to be a lot of comments, people saying, what about steel? Now, not only when I spoke to the managing director of Manor & Co Guns about his acquisition, if you like, of the AYA distribution, he is also an engineer and he claims that he's developing his own 28 bore steel shot load. That's all I can tell you at this moment in time, but if we can find out more, we will tell you on the channel. 410, of course, at the moment, you can get bismuth, you can get TSS. So there are non-lead alternatives available for both of these guns, which for me is going to see them last another 20, 30, 40 years, no problem. So for me, it's all about, you want a challenging shot. I mean, that 410's choked full and full. You're going to have like 6 pellets coming out of that. So you've got to be some man to shoot that gun. In fact, it'd be great to get out and shoot it. Maybe we'll do that for a video. From a fun point of view, true scale, small gauge side-by-sides, they're lovely to walk around with. They look the part. And because these are AYAs, Arazambal by they will never let you down. So that's been a fun little review of a neat little pair of small gauge AYAs. It's also the first time we've featured a gun, certainly a side-by-side, with 2 triggers on the channel, because normally we only stick to 1. If you've got any questions about these particular guns, please do contact me directly, or anything AOA related. I'm a big fan of these guns, so if anyone's got any questions about AOA, how to date your AOA, you know, anagrams for AOA, just email me and I'll help, no problem at all. As ever, the video is proudly sponsored by the British Shooting Show, and if you have enjoyed me waffling about these little Spanish gems, do give us a like, do hit subscribe, because we do appreciate your support. That's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.